Merge simulation is a little known feature, but I think after this video you're going to agree it's really important to know how to do this. So what really is merging simulations? It really, just based on the name, you're going to be taking any of your simulations and combining them into one simulation. So for example, here we have simulation 1, which has 2 locations and some navigation between those locations, Sim 2 and Sim 3. Maybe you've made a simulation with a single picture and now you want to combine it into an ABCD view. So when you do your merge simulation operation, SimsUshare creates a single simulation that has all the locations in one. And then you can set up your navigation between the various locations. So as you see here, when you do the merge operation, if there is navigation already set up between different locations in the same sim, that navigation gets preserved in the merge simulation. But once you've merged the simulation, now you can then jump between slides. You've got to set that up. Nothing happens automatically. So why would you want to merge simulations? Here are a couple ideas. As I was mentioning, combining individual pictures. Maybe you made an A sim, a B sim, a C sim, and a D sim, and you want to have now one sim in which a user can navigate A, B, C, D. So you just line them up, as we'll see, and you merge your simulations. And then you can set up navigation between among the different locations. A second reason to merge simulation, let's say you have multiple paths. So you set up a simulation where you have a path, and we're going to see this for a walkthrough. And now you want to have another simulation that shows that same path, but has some activity that's different in that walkthrough. So you can merge the simulations. We're going to see merge them, and then in one simulation you could actually have all the paths and set them up so you would be able to put participants in and set them into the right path. And we're going to see an example of that with the school shooting. And then the last important reason to merge would be to combine multiple conditions into one sim. So maybe sim 1 is your arrival condition, sim 2 is your fire extension, and sim 3 is your knockdown. But you want to be able to move a user between these simulations. Well, you can't do that if they're separate sims. So you combine it into a merge simulation, and then you can move your users to whichever location or locations are appropriate for that condition. So let's just say in a moment we're going to see how to merge the simulations. But when it merges simulations, what we're going to see is it doesn't just combine your locations in one straight sequence like that. What it actually is going to do, from a technical point of view, it's going to create 2 additional slides or locations for you. One is going to be an introductory slide, which you would replace, or you could delete it. And that just is going to be sort of a welcome to the sim. The second slide is going to be, we call a jump slide, and that's going to give you jumper navigation to get to the beginning of your whichever sims that you are combining. Now typically you can delete those slides if you just want to have the basic sequence, or we expect that you're going to want to change those. So once you've merged your simulations, you're going to want to adjust or delete the intro slide, you're going to adjust or delete the jump slide, and then you're going to adjust navigation among your locations. So let's take a look now at how this is all done. So when I go into SimsUshare and I click edit, so I made up, here's in the Stockton AB, basically what I have here is a single picture, AB. And you'll see here there's just one location. So I made also, that's the AB view. And then this is the Charlie view, and that's the Delta view. So to merge these into a single Stockton simulation, I go here to the menu and click Merge Simulations. I click on the simulations in the order that I want them, if an order is important. And now I click Merge, and it's going to ask me what's the simulation name. I'm going to put in 1024 Stockton Sim, and then I say Continue, and it's going to say, would you like to add the location name, a prefix for each sim? So that's, and when I had A, B, C, and D, they're all going to be whatever that location is called, initial location. Now if I merge the sims, they're all going to be called initial location, which is going to be hard for me to tell them apart. So this prefixing lets me say, okay, for 1024 Stockton AB sim, I'm going to call this one AB, and we'll see how this. And then this is going to be a prefix for this. For the Charlie, I'm going to call this one C. So this is going to be a prefix that's added to that particular sim. And this one is going to be D, and we'll see how this is important. Now we're going to get to this a little bit later if the merge sim is for the CTC. For right now I'm going to say no. It merges the simulations. And now let's take a look at what happened. It says it's all done. We're going to go into Stockton Sim, hit edit. And now here's our intro location. Let's take a look. We have our intro location, our merge jump location, and then we have A, B, C initial, and D, because the sims had initial location as those location names. So you notice how the prefix is telling us which location, really what sim it was from. So if I actually want to play this here, you'll see this is our initial slide. And then I can click over here and I'll get to where we wanted to jump to. Now again, we expect that you're going to want to change this and possibly delete it. So for a basic walk around, so I'll go here to AB, and now AB's here, but I can't get to the other sides. So if you just want to combine your sims like this, what I would do is go here to manage locations. I would go and delete the intro slide. I would delete the merge jump location. And now I've got all my A, B, C, D here. And all I have to do now is make my walk around maker. I'm going to go A, B, C, and D, and I can always rename the locations as well, make a loop. And now I have all my simulation, my whole simulation here where I can walk around. So that's gone from 3 separate simulations into a single one. So let's now go to the next example here. That shows you how I can make these 3 collapse it into one. By the same idea, let's look at this this next simulation, TCFD. I have 3 different conditions. So if I look at essentially, let's look at the extension condition. If I go here, already I have in the extension condition, I have these slides that are linked together. But I don't have any way to go sort of up or down, like to go to knockdown or to go to something lesser. So what I've done, maybe this is how you've done it as well, you've made different simulations for different conditions. Now what I want to do is to be able to combine them into a single simulation. So again, what I do is I go here and I say merge simulations, and now I'm going to go here and say I'll make it the first simulation to be arrival, second to be extension, and third to be knockdown. And now when I hit merge, I'm going to say here it's going to be TCFD, a single family residence. I hit continue. Now would I like to add the location name, a prefix there? And in this situation, each of these have the same locations, A, B, C, and D, but what I'm going to put here is the arrival one is I'm going to say this is my arrival condition. And I hit OK here. And extension, I'm going to say extension. And you can also put in the states. If you know about SimsUshare states, you can put square brackets in. I won't get into that. That's about doing other states, but you could use, instead of the name itself, put square brackets in the name, and then use the SimsUshare state mechanism. So the merge sim is for the CTC. Do you want me to arrange the sim? And I'm going to say no still here. And now, if we actually go and see this, one moment. Now if I go to TCFD, so I've got my intro location. Let me play this. You'll see if I jump here, and now if I were to go and go click on it, and I'll go over to my arrival, you'll see that the arrival now is all linked up together. But I can't get to the other locations, but they are actually in the same simulation. If I go over here, you'll see there's arrival, there's extension A, B, and C, D, and knockdown A, B, C, and D. So if I'm using the CTC, I can actually have people go to the different condition, and that'll work out really nicely. If I do want to connect any of these, let's say I wanted to have, I'm showing this on a single screen, and I wanted to connect arrival to extension, I could go over to the arrival slide, and now I could just use my navigation, set navigation, for example. Let me use the up arrow here and go, I'm at arrival A, let me go up to extension A. And so now this is how I sort of link together my navigation. I'm at arrival A, and I'm walking around arrival A, but now if I'm here, I can go up to the extension, and now I'm walking around the extension set of locations. And I can do that the same with knockdown if I want. Again, using the CTC is an easier way to put people into the condition rather than having to link them like here, where a user could be just manipulating them themselves. So that just shows you, though, how we've combined all those 3 conditions into one. And then the last example I'm going to show you is with doing different paths. So for example, I'm going to switch back over here and go, let's say that we have 3 simulations that are different paths for like a active shooter incident. So in Sim 1, we sort of do a walkthrough of without that's just empty. It's giving someone an opportunity to walk through and see the basic navigation. In Sim 2, we do something like have victims in it. And in Sim 3, we actually have the shooter who's walking around. So let's go back over here. I'll show you sort of empty walk. I'm going to go in. Oh, sorry, this is path with victims. So I hit play here. And so as I'm going through this path, you'll see I'm just kind of going through here, and empty walk would actually not have, you see there's a victim over here. So I made 3 different simulations, one without any victims, one with a victim, and then one with a shooter. So I'll show you what that shooter looks like. So if I go over a path with shooter, let me go back over here and go back there and edit. Well, let me go here and edit. Path with shooter, I hit play, and now I go over here. You'll see if I go up, and now I'm actually going to go in. Same sort of thing here, but now if I go to the side, you'll see there's my shooter, but I also will have the victim. So that's a different path, but let's say I want to have one simulation where I'm able to control where the user goes. So if we take a look back here, and we see over here, I want to combine it so that they're in the same simulation. As the person comes in, I can move them into whichever path I want them to go. And then they're going to be navigating independently. You're never going to really be needing to go from the empty into the victim, into the one with victims. And we'll be able to use these columns. So this is really in the CTC. This is that question, why would I want to have people arrange different columns? Because then I can watch my participants move around in the column in an organized way, and I can move them into whichever column is appropriate for the scenario that I want. So what I will do with that is then go back over here, and we would see when to merge, I would actually go back here, and I would say now, I'd say I want to go and merge simulations, and I would say now I'm going to merge my empty walk, I'm going to merge my path with victims, and I'm going to merge my path with a shooter. And when I hit merge here, I'm going to add school sim, whatever that's going to be. And I want to add a location. I could add a different prefix if I wanted to, or keep it blank if I didn't want to have that. So I'm going to say over here, maybe I'm going to call this one empty, and this one I'm going to call victim, and the other one I'm going to call, let's say, active. And so once I hit continue here, if it's for the CTC, do I want me to arrange each sim in its own column? So it's going to make sure that each sim is padded so that they show up in that column format if you're using the CTC. Once it's done copying the assets, it will all finish and we'll all be done, and we'll take a look to see what that ultimately looks like. So school sims complete. And so the really nice thing here is you can actually be working on each of the conditions or each of the paths without having to have one big simulation that you have to tweak. Once you have a big simulation, it then gets much more intricate to have to edit, to jump around. You have to kind of go here and do a lot of scrolling, or use the edit next or edit previous. So it may be easier to edit your simulations by keeping the pieces more small, kind of around the condition, and then at the end merge them together. And then what will happen here is for this simulation, I may just want to change the slide. I don't have to use this navigation. This might be an introduction to the simulation or a responding screen or whatever. And so as we'll see over here, you see now I have empty victim, empty outside, then victim, then active. So this has now ordered the locations such that they will show up in the various columns here, which is exactly how we want to see it when we're running with the CTC. So hope that's been a good introduction, a little bit more showing you a demo for doing merging simulations, a very useful feature, and something that you're really going to want to get a handle on as you become an intermediate and more advanced developer.